So I talk a little bit about startups. I don't know if I've made my feelings known, so I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth on them. Um, and this is a very strange scenario where I'm basically replacing a very old podcast, but I have new information, but I also want to make sure that I don't add too much new information um, because that podcast also led to other podcasts, and I don't want to basically repeat. I don't want to repeat myself in this podcast and say things I've said before, even though those podcasts come after. I don't know how time works. I don't know how time works. Whatever, I'll just get into it. So, I've worked extensively in the startup space, and I just wanted to give some context or background information that's not available to people. And I find problematic that certain informations aren't withheld, but that there's a certain image to startups that is really propagated and spread out there. So people look at startups as exciting. There's a lot of energy. You get to know the CEO. It's a sort of big fish, small pond type feeling, and you know what you're working on and why. You have all the information. I mean, there's no silos or walls, right? It's not that the CEO works on the 30th floor and you work on the ground floor. Everyone likes being able to have lunch with their CEO or see them across the room. Like if I need help, I just say, hey, I don't know, Chris or whatever. There's a lot of excitement and accessibility to leadership in startups. A lot of transparency. It's hard to hide things when everyone is working in the same office, right? Um, and it's cool. Like startups don't have, they don't have a dress requirements. You can come in shorts or PJs, whatever. We don't care about how you look or where you work, right? Like you can work remotely. We just care that you get stuff done and all this stuff they say online, which is true. I'm not saying they're lying, but they make it seem like startups are the way to go, right? Like startups are breaking the old ways of working. Startups are challenging established companies. It's just a lot of it is unfortunately it's nonsense, right? I mean, I've seen too many startups where once they reach like 50 plus employees and started having a lot of regular customer interactions, they started having a dress code. A lot of startups once they got large enough, they started requiring like a larger office that cost more money. They started having people come to the office in a hybrid manner, mind you, but a lot of the benefits you get from small companies, as they grow, they start embracing the problems of the large companies, right? The accessibility you enjoyed working when you guys were 6 employees, you're going to lose when you're 25 plus, right? Right, that CEO is gonna get like an assistant. You're gonna have to start going through the assistant to have meetings with him. He's not gonna start having retreats every 3 months for mental health reasons. That was cheaper when you had 10 people. Now that you have 100, guess what? That's not gonna happen. It might happen once a year, maybe. Right? Everyone gets a MacBook and this and that. As the company grows, suddenly it's like, yeah, you get a MacBook, but instead of a MacBook Pro 16-inch, $3,000, now you're gonna get like a MacBook Air that's like, I don't know, 900,000, whatever. So it's just a lot of things attract you in the beginning, but startups are no different than companies in some regards, right? A lot of the things that attract you, they shouldn't be the only things that attract you because they can disappear so quickly, right? So I've addressed, working remotely can go away, the dress code can go away, accessibility, transparency. I mean, everyone. They can have town hall meetings when it's 5 of you at Starbucks, right? That's so easy to do. Or you guys go to Costco and have like the $10 pizza, which is amazing, and you're just sitting around the table and just like talking to each other, sharing 8 slices. You're not gonna get that once the startup grows, right? The people who are with, I don't know, Uber like 10 years ago or whenever they started, I'm sure they're not seeing the CEO as frequently now, right? It's just conjecture, but I see this glorification of startups. People love them. They love that they're so like chill and laid back. They just care that you do the work. No, at a certain point when startups become large enough and their expenses get high enough, soon they start finding ways to track you. And if not finding ways to track you, then they find ways to. I hate New York. They find ways to give you just enough work, and they get very good with the math. Like they'll know, they say, oh, I don't pay you to work 9 to 5. I just care that you get the work done. But they have you working 9 to 5. They know how long it takes to assign you 40 hours of work. They do the math, and and they use softwares to see this. I mean, if you get work done too quickly 1 week, guess what? Next week you'll get even more work. So a lot of these liberties and luxuries that you get, they go away, right? They might pay for your health insurance and 401k, but then even that, I mean, as the company grows, once it's no longer a small business, they're gonna start having different plans, I'm sure, and different people handling the 401k, and then the match is probably gonna be a different percentage, right? Unlimited PTO, that's another benefit they try to give you. That also goes away once you become a large enough company and things become sort of, from casual, things become more critical, more urgent. That unlimited PTO goes away, right? And if it doesn't, even if the company keeps the unlimited PTO, I don't know why people are so fascinated by it, right? Someone is keeping track of your time off. Yeah, even if you're still paid for it, I mean, people are going to notice if you're taking 20 days off a year, you are a lot more attractive to lay off or, unfortunately, terminate, put on a PIP or something. Constructive dismissal, you would call it. You're actually more likely to take PTO that you earn the hard way in an established company than you are in a startup. There's a psychology to it, right? There's industrial psychologists who have said, yeah, give them unlimited PTO and they'll be shy about using it. And even if they use a lot, if you have someone using a lot of PTO, and I've seen this happen, they do get laid off magically. I know people who have been working in startups, and even recently, as recent as like last week, they're on LinkedIn polishing their resume and sharing their story about how they got laid off from some magical unicorn that was supposed to displace, I don't know, Roblox or Lyft or Uber Eats or something like that. Not to mention, oh my God, disrupting, right? Startups all like to peddle this idea that they're going to disrupt or do this and that, and people join because they believe in the mission. Oftentimes, the mission is just shared to you by some CEO who's drinking his own Kool-Aid, right? CEO who believes in his company. He does, and I'm not saying founders and CEOs are idiots and they don't know what they're doing, but it's very disheartening that so many young people fall in love with startups and the energy they give, right? And these eloquent speakers who tell them, yeah, we're the future, we're the future. At the end of the day, it's just problems and solutions. Just look at a startup and, don't just look at what problem is it solving, right? What problem is the startup solving? And then work your way from there. But if you join a startup for the benefits that I've listed, just know that they can go away anytime. I've seen them go away at any time. And I've even advised companies when they're looking at how can they be leaner, I've even told them how to restructure certain benefits that they offer. And, like instead of offering this right away, offer this at 90 days, right? You guys offer this at 90 days, it's an amazing perk. You should move this to 6 months. I help companies, make those changes. I make those assessments and deliver those findings. So when people think that, yeah, go into a startup, you'll be happy, get away from corporate America, get away from the 9 to 5, it's like, yeah, but startups are just 9 to 5s delivered differently. Startups are the same as big companies. They just operate differently for now, but that's the key thing. It's only good for now, right? The excitement you have at work, it's only exciting for now. Eventually, you guys are working with cutting edge technologies or identifying or working with new problems. Eventually your company is just going to become bloated and have a lot of, nonsense like every other company. I mean, the new technologies you guys are working with in 5 years are going to be outdated, but you're still going to be working with this technology. Why? Because a lot of the things you built were built on this technology and you're married to this technology. You have to build off of this technology and, maybe in 5 or 10 years you'll refactor everything from the ground up. But yeah, what's cutting edge today is not going to be cutting edge a year or two from now. So I just felt it was worth giving some 2 cents on startups because there's some TV shows on startups and how fun and exciting it is. And yeah, they show the stressful side to it too, but I see startups who are trying to get employees laid off by the big companies and they're trying to list all of these perks as like benefits. And yeah, they are. I'm not saying startups are evil or they all suck, but I would never join a startup just for the benefits that could so easily be changed. All it takes is some pen, paper, talking to your benefits coordinators, talking to legal, what have you. That's all it takes, right? It's actually it's just paperwork when it comes to changing benefits. It's a little bit more difficult though to change your business model. So if you change your startup, I would join the startup not because of the current benefits that they offer, which could change, but because of the product. Is this startup, are they selling something, some solution or service that is necessary, that's important, that's needed, that does not exist in the market? Or have they found a way to deliver a solution that exists in a better, more affordable way? So these are the questions you have to ask critically. They try to get you, though, with all these cool perks that are just so easily changed. And I don't like that. I don't see a lot of startups that are telling people, hey, join us for these reasons. We're very confident we're going to be successful. We're delivering a solution that does not exist to a problem that everybody has. Right? When I see the LinkedIn post, it's never like that. It's like, want to work remotely from the beach somewhere in like Puerto Rico. Want to work from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. because you want to. Maybe you have insomnia. Join us. And it's like, why is your pitch always things that are not set in stone? None of these startups will ever sign a paper with you that says that this will always be your benefit. Right? That never happens. And that should tell you that they know that they're not going to offer these benefits forever. Right? At a certain point, they turn into a regular company just like everyone else.